Hello, and welcome to episode 135 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined as always by Matthew Figuera.
It's a good time.
It's a good time.
Let me tell you, this transition to video has me all kinds of panicked because I feel like got to make sure everything's going, and I'm trying to keep time codes on top of this. So
it is impressive that you are able to co-host a show while also producing it. You're a man of many talents.
I'm a man of multitasking, let me tell you.
Man of multitasking, man of many talents.
How are your multitasking skills?
How would I think it depends on what I'm multitasking with. Like I can multitask when it comes to entertainment, if that makes sense. Like I can watch TV and play Switch at the same time. If that's a skill.
When you said entertainment, I imagined you having people over and you're like juggling while pouring drinks. Like, wow.
cooking a turkey while juggling and doing like a fire dance in the kitchen.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that sounds like a good, useful skill, but that's not in my wheelhouse.
That's not
yet.
it. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think it depends on like the series. Because if it's like an intense series, you don't want to be doing something else because then you're just missing things. But yeah, I can do that with like pretty easygoing things. I don't know, multitasking. I can change tasks very quickly. So multitasking seems silly to me. You know what I mean? Like I can change from one thing to the other very quickly.
It's
beneath me.
You've evolved
it is
past
beneath
standard human performance, you know.
Why do two things at once badly when you can do one thing at once well?
Very well. I mean,
that's my motto.
That's fair, but like, so my example is, well, a good example of me being able to multitask is like I can very easily message on my phone and respond to person in real life.
I'm super bad at that.
Okay, so you see.
One or the other shuts down. like I'll be responding to someone on the phone, and I'll be listening to someone and trying to like process what's happening.
Oh my goodness!
But it's not really going in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See,
and it's even worse with meetings now at work because you're on a meeting, someone WhatsApps you, and you start reading the WhatsApp, and then only like 30 seconds later, you realize you've been listening to their meeting, but you're not really
listening to it. I mean, so when it comes to that, so if I'm messaging, for example, and Lenska asks me something, I'm very good at like responding immediately, and I carry on messaging. Okay, but
that sounds like a defense mechanism.
I can multitask. Okay, she's not home, but but like. But my day job as a copywriter, like I'm obviously writing, and you obviously write articles and whatnot and code. I find it very difficult to listen to a podcast, for example, and write at the same time. Like it's just flat out impossible. That is 100% I'll write something and then I'll stop to listen, and I'll be like, oh my God, I need to be writing. So I carry on writing. I'm like, oh God, I missed what they said. So I'll rewind. I can't do that. Like,
yeah, I'm 100% the same. And I think it comes down to, like you said, when you're doing copywriting or when I'm doing like articles, it's even music with lyrics. If I'm doing something with words, I can't.
It has to be like a nice casual ambient something with no words.
Depending on the music, I can sometimes listen to like normal lyrical music while I'm coding. That's usually not an issue. Podcasts I can't, because then I'm focusing more on the code than the podcast. But what I do well, I was doing it for a while, but I haven't done it in a while now, is watch Let's Plays while I'm working, just because
that's cool.
It ends up being like background noise, and I like having, maybe it's bad for my brain, but I like having things in the background going while I'm working. So I know last year when we went into lockdown, can you believe it's been like a year since we went into lockdown?
It's like,
basically.
Yeah, it's like basically a year now, which is just
when
wild.
We started doing that, I got very deep into like Giant Bomb's premium shows. And I watched, like, they did Alex Navarro and Vinny Caravella did a long series of their playthroughs of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3.
Which are like,
just went through all of those and love them because they were just playing in the background while I was working, and every now and then you hear a joke and it's funny, and you look at the game for a little bit and then you look back at the work. So yeah, if that's multitasking, then yes, I can multitask.
Oh, how did your multitasking come in handy when you moved?
Sure. Let me tell you. They say, well, I've heard now that moving is like one of the top, I don't know, 3 or 5 things.
Top 3 worst things to do in life.
Yeah, like or like one of the top 3 most stressful things you can undergo in life. I think the other ones I read were like grief, like losing a loved one, and like divorce, and then it's moving. And I can 100% understand that. Like last weekend didn't feel like a weekend at all. It was just like super stressful.
Blur,
yeah, super stressful. Like it was a mixture of stressful and exciting, because it is exciting. It's like
you're
a new place. I'm moving in with Shani, so it's like a whole new chapter in our lives as well. So it's like hella exciting. But at the same time, moving everything, buying a lot of things, setting everything up. And then, you know, we as humans, we resist change. We don't like change at all. So then mentally overcoming that, like, it's this weird thing of like, I'm excited for this change. Of course you are. Like, if you weren't excited for the change, you wouldn't be doing it. But at the same time, your whole comfort zone is completely different.
It shifts,
And I think it was just poor timing, because then I started essentially a new job on Monday as well. So then I'm out of that comfort zone as well.
Yeah.
So I think it was just poor timing on my part to do
like
both.
Everything from scratch. You like completely turned over a new leaf.
Like
starting a new job,
my life
moving
over
in.
a weekend. Yeah, exactly. It was insane. But I think having work was really good, because it helped us settle into a routine very quickly. So yeah, I like the new place. I'm also closer to you, which is great. So yeah, we're really happy with it. And I've got the PlayStation set up and my TV set up. So can't complain. Can't complain.
Except now you have to share the TV with Shani. No more you in your own space, your own couch.
No, we've got another TV in the bedroom. And this week I bought a streaming box for there. So if she ever wants to watch TV and I want to play games,
amazing.
Got it sorted.
But that's even nice for you, for the two of you, because I have very fond memories of watching TV or just shows like in the bedroom, and we just don't have that in our bedroom at the moment. So it's like, if I watch Netflix now, it's on my phone somewhere, or like my iPad Mini. It's teeny tiny.
It's I can understand why people don't want to do it. Like 100% why they want to keep a TV out of their room, but at the same time, watching TV in bed is something both of us did. Like, especially Shani, she loves it. So
I think it's like comfort food for some people. Yeah,
it's super. And she watches a lot of TV. I play a lot of games, so having separate spaces for that, it just made sense. Otherwise, we're constantly having to worry about one another, like getting in each other's space.
I think you need to flip the scenario though, and you have Shani watch TV in the lounge and you play PlayStation in bed.
Oh hell no! My nice TV's in the lounge. That's not happening.
No. You move the nice TV into the bedroom.
Okay, you've got a point there.
And then
there.
No, you see, you flip the script,
or just buy 2 nice TVs.
2 nice TVs
and not eat for a month.
I mean, you could do that. Yeah.
Just eat canned beans.
2-minute noodles are your friend.
2-minute noodles for a month. Yeah. I mean, we might die, but it will be worth it.
You'll be fine. We can have a nice new TV.
God, I can't imagine. Imagine doing like a... What was that McDonald's documentary? Super Size Me.
Oh, Super Size Me.
But imagine that with just like every meal is a different flavor, 2-minute noodles.
We make a documentary, 2-minute noodle me.
Good Lord. I don't think I'd make it. Even the McDonald's one, like, I love McDonald's, and I know I would not make a month of what that dude did. Like, no way. I wouldn't even make a week. But 2-minute noodles, I don't think I'd make it like 3 days. I'd just be so fucking over it.
See, I have a very soft spot for 2-minute noodles. Like, I can eat them, but over I don't know, a period of days, I probably would, suffer. I think
your body would start shutting down, because you really just are getting no
like,
nutrients.
You're getting like flavored water and I don't know, string
and carbohydrates. That's it. So like You'll have energy, but you'll feel so flat when that stuff
I
like
don't actually
finishes.
know what your
My
body
God.
would do. Like even the Super Size Me documentary. I mean, so there's obviously beef and like chips, potatoes, and because you could order everything off the menu, right? But like, what nutrition are you getting?
Oh, it's
you're
very
getting
little.
just straight up like carbohydrates.
Yeah, but even
Like,
then,
what
it's just
does-
sugars and fats.
Yeah,
and
but
that
that's what I'm
shit is
saying.
Burning
Like,
so
what
quickly.
does your body do when it doesn't get a hold of like vegetables and stuff?
Oh, you shut down. You literally start like
Shut.
like you cannot stay awake.
that
That's why
man
like
napped between shots and that
yeah,
whole
that's why people with like really bad diets. Like, I mean, I don't think I had a bad diet per se, but I went through phases where I was eating really poorly, and you just feel tired all the time.
yeah.
Like your body just has nothing to go on. So,
Okay.
funnily enough, when I did try the keto diet, terrible. I felt the exact same way because I was cutting out carbohydrates completely, and I was just doing fats and proteins, and I just felt tired all the time. That was the worst like sort of diet I tried. It was fucking
My
terrible.
goodness.
Yeah. I mean, if it works for you, that's cool, but Jesus Christ, I'm so glad to not be doing that again.
Yeah, I think everything in moderation.
Yeah, that's where I'm
That's
at now.
it's a
Moderation.
You know, you have a normal dinner and you wash it down with 3 tubs of poor ice cream. You know, then I don't do that. I wish I could do that.
I wish I could do that. I wish I could
probably
drink
die.
2 liters of Coke a day, but I'd probably
But
die. So
you do know, like, so you've moved out now. You are much better located for stuff like that. Like you have pools, for example, in like within driving distance now, which I don't think you had
Dangerous.
before.
no,
Okay.
no, very
No.
dangerous.
Yeah, so you've got like variety that I don't think you had access to before, which is interesting. You're gonna have to explore and see what your new favorites are. It's exciting.
And I've got like some of my favorites very close. I've got Shramako literally within like walking distance. I've got one of my favorite curry places also within walking distance.
Huh? What's it called? I think I know exactly what you're talking
Tava.
about. I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Tava, it's like a southern
Do-
Indian.
Do you walk upstairs to get to the
no.
main dining area?
No,
There is another place in your area that we've been to before that's also really good.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I haven't been there. Shani's been there, but I do want to try that.
It's a good time.
But when you come over, I'll take you to Tava. That place.
You feed
Man,
me.
cannot sing their praises enough. So good.
You
So,
can
so
take me
good.
to Shramako as well because I don't know if I've ever been to Shramako.
What? Seriously?
To be completely honest, yeah.
Okay,
Nah.
got to change that.
We're going to eat all of the things.
Definitely got to change that. Yeah, I that's where we went because my dad and my sister were helping us move, and then at lunchtime I was like, okay, let's just go get shawarmas. Let's just get some fuel in these bodies. It was so good. It was super good.
Nothing hits better than any meal you eat after like hard work.
I did feel like I wanted to take a nap though, which was poor when I had so much to do still.
Oh my god, it's like, can we set up the bed so I can go nap?
Yeah, like the bed was set up, but I needed to put up curtains, and then I was like,
Oh,
I
no.
don't wanna. Yeah,
Adulting.
putting up curtains sucks. It's like it's a real arm workout because you just like
Yeah, they
putting
don't
in the
tell you
little
about
pegs,
that part.
the pegs, and
I-
they also
I-
don't tell you how like you're supposed to set up curtains. Like we bought curtains, we put them up, and we like these look wrong.
Where
and then
was
my
this
mom
lesson in life
visited.
orientation?
Yeah, my mom visited. She's like, oh, you know these threads at the end, you've got to pull them to bunch up the things. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Years of helping my mom. Every year, we actually mentioned it the other day because Susan, our domestic, did all the curtains in the main house. And I told Lenska's like, she did it all by herself. She's amazing. I'm like, she really is, because I used to help my mom do this every single year in September. Like my mom did spring cleaning.
Yeah.
And now, if you remember where I used to live, the dining room is like this double volume ceiling. Those curtains were humongous.
They
like,
must have been super tall, yeah.
like, I don't know in terms of actual length, but like 3 meters, 4
And they must have
meters
been
high.
so heavy. Holy shit.
So heavy. And oh my God, every year, I'm like, I hate this. I hate it. We don't need curtains. Just
Who
don't-
even needs
why
privacy?
Do we, why do
No.
we even wash these things? Like, who cares? That's I used to hate it.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then because they're so tall, you need to have like a
Yeah.
ladder, and then you need to shuffle it around, and oh, it sounds
So all the lessons you didn't know, I learned from from my mom of like, no, you got to bunch them up here. You got to get up there. You got to put them.
I can understand why she needed your help though, because your mother's
my
so
mom's
tiny. She would never be able to.
What was amazing that she would often take them down by herself and like wash them, and then putting them up though is like, no, I need your help.
Yeah, so, it's a workout. It's Let's checkpoint chat. Talk about curtains
and games sometimes.
Games every now and then. Oh, check out this mug. It's yellow.
Oh wow, it goes with that. What brand is that? Is that a
La Crusade?
It's a La Crusade. Okay. Because, Candy Rocks on Twitter, she also, oh my God, I have a mouse pointer on you. Hilarious. She also is like obsessed with those mugs. I saw she's been sharing on Twitter or her Instagram stories. She's like, they're the perfect size for.
They really are. I mean, we didn't buy them. One of Shani's very, very lovely friends bought them as a housewarming gift for us, a set of 4. And it says here at the bottom, 350 mil or 12 ounces.
Perfect size.
It is literally the perfect size. It's they're very nice mugs. I mean, I don't know if I'd pay what you probably pay for these because like
I imagine they're expensive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, mugs are like cheap. You can get mugs for like $40. Oh God, I just realized there's like a stain on here.
What you gonna say? Oh my God, I just realized it's chipped. Shadi's gonna kill me.
Fuck, do you know? I've nearly broken one already. Oh We've had them for like a few days.
This is when your relationship really gets tested because you're gonna drop a mug or she's gonna drop a mug, and are you gonna get mad? Is she gonna?
But the yellow one is so cool because it's just
kind of brands.
It's the podcast colors. I mean, this plays really poorly on the audio version, but
just imagine a yellow mug
it's like tapered off. Look at that. It's like strong yellow. Then I should just keep it in front of my face the whole podcast like this, like this.
Audio listeners, just imagine Alessandra's got a cup head.
But if you want to see this on video, you can now go to youtube.com/checkpointchat. We've got that URL.
Finally got the URL.
Thanks to you.
Holy hell.
You guys are all awesome. You got us to, we're on 106 subscribers now, so we got that custom URL. Hell yeah. We had to wait a long time for that thing.
We did. I don't know why, actually, because on my personal YouTube, it was like, hey, you hit 100 subscribers, you can have a custom URL. And then with Checkpoint Chat, it was like, there was no option then. When I investigated, some people were like, yeah, you just have to wait. And I think I could be wrong, but I think it might be because the channel's registered as like a business or a brand.
Is this why we keep getting emails about budgets and advertising?
I don't know.
I keep seeing those emails on the accounts. I'm like, what is Matthew doing?
I'm spending all of our money.
Yeah. I just see like these things like, you can set your spend limit. This is your spend limit.
That's probably Google Ads. Yeah. Anyways,
business chat.
We talk
video
about
games,
curtains, business, and games. What have you been playing?
Persona 5 Strikers. Holy shit! So you know when Age of Calamity came out, the Hyrule Warriors Zelda Muso game came out.
Yes.
I was super stoked because I was like, oh, this is going to be a prequel to Breath of the Wild. It's going to show some things that, we didn't know, and I'm not super familiar with Muso. Well, I know what a Muso game is, but I haven't played many, so maybe this will be the one. It never really hooked me, despite being set in like one of my favorite video game worlds ever. And I don't know, I think you were the same. You didn't play like tons of it.
No, I only played the demo.
You see, I played the demo and I played a few levels of the main game, and I was like, this is good, but it's not my type of game. Yeah. So that immediately made me a bit scared for Persona 5 Strikers because like
hide under the bed covers, please no.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to this game for ages, and I was like suddenly like, maybe I just don't like Muso games, you know what I mean? So I thought, well, I'm going to feel exactly the same when I play Strikers. And so far, that's not the case. Purely because they have adopted so much Persona 5 DNA into this game that, yes, it is still a Muso game, but it feels evenly weighted between being a Persona game and a Muso game, which I didn't feel Age of Calamity was. Age of Calamity was just like, this is 99% Muso, also you playing as Zelda.
This is playing as Zelda,
yeah.
Link.
So, I mean, it takes about 45 to 50 minutes for the action to really start in this game. And I was like, yeah, that's Persona, cool. Because that's regular. You're doing a lot of conversations, role playing in a way. It's not as intense as Persona 5 where, well, okay, so I've only played about 2 hours, so I don't know. I think you still have to do the keep up your relationships to make certain party members stronger type of social link stuff that is from the RPG. But so far I haven't got any of that. Mainly it's just like, this is a story being told, and then every now and then you get thrown into a dungeon, and that's where the action takes place. So the blend of the two is just really, really good, and it feels like a proper sequel to Persona 5, because it takes place after the events of Persona 5, and a few months after it, and it feels like a really cool reunion between the main cast of characters. They're like planning for a summer vacation, and some of them have gone to college, some are still in high school, so they all gather back in Tokyo, and they are planning this road trip, and obviously things go awry, and now they have to start saving the world again while going on this road trip. But I think it's just really cool because it's a nice supplementary story so far on what I wanted to see from this cast of characters after the events of 5. And I don't know yet if it will hit all the same notes, because I think Persona 5 story is awesome. But so far it's warm and fuzzy and cuddly, and it's great. There's 1 or 2 new cast members so far that have already been really solid additions. Like there's one addition to your party called Sophia, who's basically like an AI.
Sophia.
And she's amazing. She's just, her conversations with the team already just feel so natural and like, funny and out of place and weird. And I just love it. So the one thing that is really incredible so far is the combat. So it is a Muso game. So you're facing loads and loads of enemies on the screen at once, which is a very different approach to Persona 5's turn-based, action, where at most you'd be facing maybe like 5 or 6 enemies at a time.
Yeah.
But there's so much of that DNA in here that it still feels like I'm playing a Persona game first and a Muso game second. So you still have your light and, special attacks on like square and triangle, and you moving around an arena freely. And, each attack is like hitting thousands of enemies at once. But those enemies are the same archetypes as from the RPG. So, for instance, in the RPG, if you had enemies that were flying, they were usually susceptible to gun attacks.
Of course.
Or lightning. So, like, those were their weaknesses. So, if I hit them with a gun, or if I hit them with a, like Zeo, which is a lightning ability from a certain persona, then they will go down into a weakened state. And when they're in a weakened state, then I can do what Persona calls an all-out attack, which in the RPG would be like a sort of like a mini cutscene in the battle where you'd see all your party members like pile into the person that was being attacked, and it would sometimes do critical damage, or it would do like AoE damage depending on who initiated the attack. And in this game, it kind of functions the same way. All the characters like bunch in onto the one character that you've initiated the attack on, and it does like an area of effect to other enemies. So it's like your crowd control move. So you're having to like remember what weaknesses enemies are affected by, try and get them down, and then try and get them down in a position where you can capitalize on that area of effect attack as well. And that then like ties into you having to change between different personas that you have equipped, because different personas have different abilities. And those abilities can be, again, all your elemental attacks like fire, electricity, wind, that affect certain types of enemies. And then you've got healing attacks. And so it really feels like a RPG just in real time now. There's a lot that you have to think about at any given time, and then you've got to mix that in with the Muso elements that they've added. So you can like hop onto lampposts in the street, and then engage in special attacks on enemies below you. You've got to perform, dodges. And I guess now that I'm being exposed to my full party, the party that I choose will affect the abilities that they use automatically in a battle, and what abilities are used when I do an all-out attack. So let me put it this way, like, if I hadn't played Persona 5, this combat system would be a lot to take in. Yeah, it would, like, I recognize the like status ailments, how those work, because that is at the crux of how Persona's combat works. But then blended with this Muso elements and it being so fast paced, it's really a lot to take in. Initially, I think definitely I'll get comfortable with it. But I think if you haven't played Persona 5 and you're feeling overwhelmed by strikers, I think that's fairly normal. But the encounters so far at the beginning they're breezy enough that I'm experimenting with, different things without, really worrying about dying yet. But I imagine that will start getting a bit more challenging. But I just think it's so smart. Like, Age of Calamity was the same. Like, when you played as Zelda, you got to use the Sheikah Slate to use, your rune abilities a lot, like the bomb and ice and whatever. But I always felt like they didn't feel super integrated into, the core combat. This seriously does. So, yeah.
I thought I lost you for a second there because your screen froze and I panicked.
Oh, okay. I thought, oh God, I'm going to finish the sentence and Matthew's going to be like, I haven't started recording. And I would have flipped the table.
No, because you was like, I was like, oh no, are you coming back?
I'm back.
That's fine. You're back. Good stuff.
It's really good. I mean, again, I've only played 2 hours. I've heard this is quite long. I don't think it's Persona 5 long. Because
it's not 100 hours long.
Yeah, that game took me like 105 hours to finish. I think this is more like a 30-40 hour adventure, so kind of stoked by that. But I'm really, really loving it so far.
That's cool.
And like I said, I've only played about 2 hours, and those 2 hours have been pretty evenly split with the social RPG stuff and the fighting.
Actual combat,
and I'm playing on PS5 because this is out on PS4 and Nintendo Switch and PC. And it is buttery smooth on PS4. Really like it. And
nice.
It's got the same, Omega Force developed this, but you can see they worked with Atlas really closely because the core sense of style of Persona is there. The menus are ridiculous. The UI is fantastic. It feels like you're playing a Persona 5 game.
Are you playing a PS5 version or the PS4 version?
No, there is no PS5 version.
Oh, so it's just a PS4 game. Okay.
Yeah, it's only backwards compatible. So, I don't actually know what they'd add to an upgraded version. Maybe just like a higher resolution or something. But because of how stylized it is, it doesn't
really make a difference.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't make a difference at all. What is bizarre is that there's two types of cutscenes. So you get, in Persona 5, you'd usually have your, this is in-game and it's just like a scripted sequence. And then sometimes it would change to like a proper cutscene, which was like anime, 2D animation style. But now they've got this in-between one where it's like a cutscene. It almost looks like pre-rendered CGI, but it's in like that 3D CGI and it just looks weird. I don't like it. I don't know why they decided to add this third in-between mode between the two, but it's bizarre and I'm not a fan of it. So when
to spice things up a little, why not?
Yeah, no. But it's a good time. I'm really enjoying it.
Cool.
But
so
if anyone's wondering if they should play this before Persona 5, listen, it doesn't recap the events of 5 at all. And you will lose out so much on like the relationships between these characters if you don't know what they went through in Persona 5. Like, it really just expects you to know what happened.
Yeah.
And even if you know the events that took place, it would still be a disservice because Persona 5 is about it, or Persona in general, this whole series is about its core cast. Like, that is more important than the overall story. So missing out on that is,
But, the interactions and the friendships and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%. But if you're looking for a good Muso game, that's it. This is the first one that I'm like, I fucking love this combat. It's great.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'd love to play it, but I've not played Persona 5, and I don't feel inclined to play Strikers until I've played that one day. After I've also played Persona 4 on my Vita. I mean,
think about this. If you never played Final Fantasy Remake twice, you could have played Persona once by now.
I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake, the platinum took me 80 hours, and that wasn't even enough to finish Persona 5.
See, it's close though. It's close. At least they don't follow on from another. So if you play 5 before 4, you're not
it doesn't matter,
missing out.
It
will be tough to go back to 4 though.
I think it'd be weird to go the wrong way around, because I imagine
the quality of life improvements
4,000 years ago. Yeah, and I think there must be some changes there.
Yeah, even me going back to 4 very sporadically now, I'm just like, man, I miss certain features from 5 that made, especially the RPG stuff.
Were you playing it on the Vita or where?
Yeah, on Vita.
My
yeah.
Goodness.
It just, there's certain like creature comforts from 5 that I feel are just such big leaps forward that playing 4 is a bit weird. Especially when you consider the dungeon design. Oof. Yeah, goodness. 5 is just so much better than 4 in that regard. So yeah, but I think 4 story and cast are still, I'd say marginally, but they are better. 4's cast is just incredible. But yeah, 5 is great as well.
It's a good time.
But yeah, that's Persona 5 Strikers. It's a good time. It's out on PS4,
Everything.
PC, and Switch. I would love to know how it runs on Switch, because Age of Calamity did not run well on Switch. And this is a identically styled game.
Age of Calamity was weird in that, like, it kept the exact same style of Breath of the Wild, but it obviously had like 4 million more things going on, happening on the screen at any given time. So it was this weird like thing of like the visuals almost looked a bit blurred.
Yeah, they looked very. I think the resolution,
just like
to compensate for it. And even then, even with those like sort of like muddy visuals, the frame rate felt chuggy a lot of the time. Especially if you were playing docked. I felt docked was so much worse, because it must have been pushing that resolution
pushing it up
higher than it really should have.
When you said you were playing docked, I was like, what character is that? I don't recognize the name.
What character from Smash is that?
The dock? What?
Imagine they had the Nintendo Switch dock as a secret character in Smash.
God.
That'd be great.
We're gonna get Ring Fit Adventure as the next character. You heard it here. You heard it here first.
What? Just the
Take
ring?
it to the bank. So you've just played Persona Strikers. Nothing else to talk about.
I've played a bit of Mario as well.
Played some Mario. I mean, we can talk about that. Let me just get a little timestamp here.
So this is Super Mario 3D Land plus Bowser's Fury. On Nintendo Switch. We did a launch day stream of that. If you haven't checked it out, it's on our YouTube channel. But Matthew's been playing a lot more.
I really enjoyed that launch day stream.
It was a lot of fun.
Some good
I really
fun,
enjoyed it too. Yeah.
I've wanted to go back and do a highlights reel, but my goodness, where'd I find the time? But
also,
Super
the highlights
Mario,
reel would just be the cats.
It'd just be me throwing you off the ledge for 10 minutes. I should just do that. It'd be hilarious.
You should just put the whole replay of that, the level where we were on top of that water dinosaur.
Oh my god. 4 years later, let me tell you, there are more water dinosaur levels, but they're a lot easier.
So much easier with one person. My God, when I replayed that level alone,
you're
I was like, wow.
What's the issue?
This was so trivial.
Why did we struggle? Yeah. So I've been playing a lot of Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, and so I'll start with 3D World, I suppose. And it's just amazing because I played it. I distinctly remember playing it on the Wii U. However many years ago, 2013, 2014, whenever it was. And I really enjoyed the game. And in my head, I feel like I finished it. But now on the Switch playing the game, I don't know if I'd really finish it because, so I rolled credits on this game. There are a bunch of worlds. I won't say how many there are for spoiler reasons, just in case. I rolled credits and the game just carries on. There are additional worlds after the credits. And it's so interesting because I'm a big fan of Galaxy and Odyssey, and I just love Mario games in general. But 3D World is different to me in that the levels are so bite-sized, but they all seem to have some sort of mechanic or trick or just fresh idea that I don't know, mixes up the formula a little bit. And there's just dozens of them. Like there are so many levels, and I've just been snorting this game. Like I think I'm nearly done. I've got maybe one world left. And don't quote me, but I think there's something stupid like 80 levels, maybe more. Like there are so many levels. Like I can't stress enough, and like it's not a bad thing. Like I look forward to jumping into the next world and like what is the trick here? Like what power up are they giving me? What is the little twist, whatever? And it's just like I think it was missed out on by so many people because it was on the Wii U. But shit, like I feel it is a very underrated Mario game. Like I think some Mario people don't enjoy it because like I still think Galaxy is probably my favorite Mario game, just because that game is incredible and you all should play it. But 3D World has so many great ideas stuffed into one package, and what I haven't even really explored besides the stream we did, you can play it multiplayer. Like the entire thing can be played with up to 4 people.
I can't imagine 4 people on those stages. It must be so crazy.
Playing it alone has been some good fun. Like I've really, really enjoyed it, but you can play that with friends. And I can imagine it must be chaotic, but it must be a lot of fun to play with friends as well.
Like, it must be super chaos.
I can't imagine some of those later levels with more people. I think you must burn through lives because I've burned through some lives in that game.
Even us just playing co-op, we burned through some lives.
Yeah. But I've really been enjoying it. Like it's just good. I mean, I can't tell you, like in Odyssey, they give you Cappy, and that's the new spin on the formula because you can take over enemies, you can throw your cap. This is just 100%. It's just your standard Mario fare with some new power-ups. Like you've got the cat suit, which is
it's a
fun.
big thing though. The cat suit, I understand why people made a big deal out of it because it changes the mobility of Mario in a big way.
It's just it's different. So you can obviously run up walls. You can reach I think what's really cool about this game, so each level you basically have to find 3 stars, and there's like an optional stamp. Okay, you don't have to find all the stars, but you kind of want to. It pushes you to explore, each level in detail.
It's like, are you a quitter or not?
Yeah. And it's just amazing because it's like, okay, I've got the cat suits on this level. They intentionally give this to me. Like, what out of sight place do they want me to reach to get a star, for example? And like sometimes the stars are very obvious, like you see it, you grab it, and that's that. But it just forces you to poke around, and it's good fun, like exploring the levels to the point where sometimes you discover a star, like, oh my god, like I can't believe they hit it there, or it's just, I don't know, like it ticks that box of it's so bite sized, but you get that little dopamine hits for that, like that reward of, oh, I found it, it's cool, like what's the next level now? So I've really been enjoying it.
I do feel like the levels are very creative. At the start, I think the first 2 worlds do the game a bit of a disservice. Although, at the same time, I feel like they are there to help introduce people to just Mario in general. But I think if you've played a 3D Mario game before, they feel... Especially
like
the first world, they feel a bit stale.
Yeah, it's like... It's just Mario.
They're not bad. They're normal, and you're like, why is this game special? But towards the end of already the second world, there are already stages there that I was like, okay, I can see each level is going to have a thing, to it, and they're going to get more complex and more interesting. And by the third world, I was already just blown away. Like, how do they have this much creativity for every single stage? It's just immense that every stage has its own mechanic,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if I think, okay, like I know there's 80 plus levels and not all of them have
which is crazy to me. I cannot believe there's so many.
This game's like stuffed with content. But yeah, it is a thing of they'll give you one new mechanical twist and you play it for 5-10 minutes and you move on to the next idea. It's just I don't know, it's like a collage of just so many different ideas just smushed into one really good Mario package. I'm glad it's on Twitch now because I feel a lot more people have Switch, obviously, and right out the gate, if you have a Switch, you can play 2 players because you can play with 2 Joy-Cons. So like it just makes it instantly accessible to more people who have a Switch. Yeah, especially like on the co-op front, and I think like the the 1 hour we played of the game in the launch stream, like that was some really good fun. Like I think this game, like I said, I've played it alone. I've really enjoyed it. Like I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But shit, it must be some real good fun with other friends. You know, if they're not throwing you off the ledge and whatnot.
Yeah, that's why I liked the stream. I thought the stream was super fun just because it was like, you know, it was the same great levels, but it was just antics thrown into the mix as well.
Yeah.
Because it was just nonsense. Like when I actually accidentally jumped into the box and transitioned us to the next part of the stage while you were like about to get a star, you know.
It was so close.
Those moments where if we were in person, you'd want to throttle me maybe, but
oh my God.
You know, stuff like that. It's
Thank God for
cool.
COVID, for keeping us apart for just that one time.
Checkpoint chat would have been ruined
dead
that day.
Yeah, but I've really enjoyed it. So
one part that I haven't actually engaged with beyond the stream is Bowser's Fury, though.
Have you not really played Bowser's Fury?
No, so I mean, I watched you play it on the stream, and I was similar to you, where I was like, I want to play 3D World before I dive into Bowser's Fury. So have you finished it?
So it's interesting because I've rolled credits on Bowser's Fury, but again, they're like, you're not done. There are more are they called cat
shines? I think.
Yeah, they're like, you've collected X amount, but there are this many in total. And I like, there's some that you've missed. Also, we've added some more to this big open world now. And Bowser's Fury has me very excited for the future of Mario because, like we've said, it's this weird thing of, it's basically like any typical 3D Mario game. Like, for all intents and purposes, you've got levels that you get through, whatever. There's good platforming. There's, you know, all the power-ups in 3D World are in Bowser's Fury. So you get the cat suit, you get the boomerang upgrade, all of these things. But it's like, it almost feels like it's been given the Breath of the Wild treatment. Like, that is the twist. So when Breath of the Wild came out, it is a thing of like, it's the same Zelda you know and love. However, it's now this open world game and you can go anywhere, and like it almost just reinvented that franchise. And of course it like painted the way for games that followed. Like, a lot of games are now trying to duplicate or, you know, or have been inspired by Breath of the Wild. This to me feels like it's almost that sort of level of treatment where this is the evolution of the Mario game. Like, it's just this big open world that's been very cleverly cordoned off, you know, by you need X amounts of cat shines to unlock that area. But it feels so natural to move between areas. And what you actually pointed out when we streamed is like the fact that you can carry a bunch of abilities. It feels almost like a utility belt or something where it's like, oh, I actually need, there's this high wall, I need the cat to upgrade. Let me just switch to it quickly and I can climb up this wall and explore there. Or like, this thing's just out of reach. Let me just grab the boomerang upgrade so I can throw and, you know, trigger something. It just feels like a very natural progression for Mario, and like it's very short. So like the credits roll after like 2 or 3 hours. I'll probably take another hour or two to wrap up all the cat shines. So let's call it like a 4 to 6 hour experience. But it feels experimental in that this is Nintendo just testing the waters of like, is this a sort of Mario game we want to make? You know, how will people react to this? Is it a good move or a bad move? Or people, like, do people want to be, you know, do they want to have a hub world where you can explore it, but you have to load into another world, for example? Because that's what Mario games have been. Even Odyssey was a thing of like, it was big open spaces, but you were still in a world, for example.
Yes, yeah, you know? And that world was themed around something.
So like, you would run around this big open space. However, you still had to like load into the next world.
Yes.
Whereas this very much is, no, you're just on one giant map. And
it feels like all the little islands are their own style of Mario level.
At the end of the day, it's you could say it's just a big illusion because you instead of loading to the next level, you're just running to it. But it just makes the game feel more seamless, and it's fun to get around. Like, I really enjoyed running. Like, you pull up the map and it's, oh, I've got a cat shine over there because there's a question mark. And you run there and you like get it. Then you pull up your map like, oh, now there's a question mark back where I was. So you run back then it's like, oh, this is the same area I've just been in, but there are new enemies. Like, or they've like they've tweaked it slightly that it's almost like just a slightly different experience, to get the next cat shine in that area. It just it has me excited because I'm like, if Odyssey 2 or whatever the next mainline Mario game is this, then like I'm 100% in. I'm very excited to see, like I've said, this almost feels experimental.
Mm-hmm.
What if they now put like all their eggs into this basket of like, this is what the next Mario game is going to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see that. Like I really would love to see that.
I also feel like, just based on what I watched on the stream, this sort of style of game doesn't work if you don't have that utility belt, because I think if you had to be like, oh, I have to go back here and get this ability and then not get hit until I get to this point of the map, I think it would wreck the pacing.
Yeah.
But having that utility belt, I think, actually opens up more possibilities, because suddenly you can look at a Mario level from a very high level perspective and not say, this is the linear route that I run through it. It's like, I have this ability, so I can actually go about getting around this level in this way, or I can use this ability and go around, to get this thing this way. I hope, I feel like that was very briefly touched on in Bowser's Fury, and I hope that they look at that more, like giving you a lot more freedom to figure out your way around a level. I think Odyssey did that really well, because they gave you all these things that you could take over as the cap and then use in different ways to get around these different spaces. So I'm curious to see where they go from here with regards to that.
Because could you imagine almost like a Mario Metroidvania?
Exactly.
Like you start off, you've only got, the flower power up, and you use the fire to get through places. Oh, but you've now unlocked, I don't know, the boomerang or the cat suits, which lets you go back and reach other areas. Like, that could be really cool. Like, I don't know, maybe they've tried it and it's like, oh, it's not great. But I think Bowser's Fury is the closest hint or indication of like I've said before, it feels like they're on the verge of just pushing Mario into the same space that Breath of the Wild did for Zelda. Like, it really, the old Zeldas are good, like 100% great games, but like it would almost feel weird to go back to a Zelda that isn't something like Breath of the Wild. Like, I'd love to know what Breath of the Wild 2 is, because we're all probably expecting, another big open world game, which it probably will be because it's Breath of the Wild. But do they just keep doing that forever now? Do they ever go back to traditional Zelda, or like, I don't know.
Or how do they? Because I mean, part of the allure of Breath of the Wild was having this space to explore for the first time.
Yeah.
So especially with regards to the sequel, like, how do they make that space enticing again? Because if it's the same map, they can populate it with different things, but it's still the same map. I look at the horizon and go, oh, I know what that is now. I know if I go in that way, I'm going to hit a desert or something like that. So curious. I mean, I'm pretty sure these are these same questions that the development teams are thinking about. That's why I think a sequel to Breath of the Wild is both exciting and I cannot imagine how daunting it must be for the people making it. Yeah,
like hands down one of the best games ever made. Like,
good luck. Because that thing's going to be scrutinized to hell and back. So
that dude, I don't know, I can't remember his name, but like
Eiji Aonuma,
he was holding back tears in that Nintendo Direct. Like,
it's just like, please, guys, we're struggling
for you because we don't know what this game's going to be. I don't know. Like, I think they've got a game plan, but sequels are always such a tricky thing, because it's very rare that a sequel surpasses the original, especially when you have such a specific memory or perception or expectation. Like, I don't know. I'm excited regardless, but
it's curious that you're wearing a shirt for what I consider probably the perfect sequel.
I mean, this is a great sequel, but
Portal 2 is the perfect sequel.
Yeah. But here's a good example. Okay, Portal 1 is like 100% an experiment. It is like a bite-sized 1 or 2 hour experience, and then they took that and they made a whole game.
Yeah.
Okay, Bowser's Fury is that little experiment, and whatever the next Mario game is, that is the Portal 2 for
expanding
Mario.
on that idea.
That's my expectation. Like,
Portal really 2 is so good.
It's good.
It's such a good game.
I should replay it sometime.
I really, really, really love that game. Like, it's in really like good. Top 3 territory for me of all time.
Yeah,
it's so
super,
good.
Super good. Remember when Valve made games?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sure.
More on that in news, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
Should we get to game releases then?
let's get to game releases. Yes.
Let me pull up my linky
Let
link.
me pull this up. Oh no. There you go.
Oh no, what have you done?
I'm just switching to some game releases.
So we are looking at game releases from March 6th, my God.
Oh no, I need to timestamp this.
March 6th to March 12th. So if I just highlight there's 4 games. Yeah, 4 games.
4 games. Don't mind me. I'm just timestamping quick.
And 2 of them are ones that are already out anyway. So, look at that time.is. So on March 9th, we've got Stronghold Warlords. I assume this is like a strategy game. Has to be.
Where are we? March. Oh, Stronghold Warlords.
Stronghold.
Possibly.
Warlords.
Well, while you look that up, on the same day, Apex Legends on Switch, which I'm very curious to see how this runs on Switch, because Apex is like a buttery smooth, very fast-paced game in a big open world. And from the, they haven't really shown much gameplay in their trailers. Like, it's been little bites of it. It doesn't look, it's obviously not going to look as good as the PC
not going to look anywhere
PS
near
version.
as crisp or sharp as that.
But I'm like, what concession was made to get this to run on the Switch? Like, I'd love to see it with my own 2 eyes. So, yeah.
So
What is
Stronghold
Stronghold?
Warlords kind of looks like Age of Empires. Let me read here. The next chapter in Firefly Studios' real-time strategy series, Stronghold Warlords is the first game to recreate the castle economics of East Asia. In Warlords, players take command of Mongol hordes, imperial warriors, and samurai clansmen as they lay siege to Japanese castles and fortified Chinese cities. Oh, so you're playing as, like, I guess the Khans here. Besiege historical warlords using new gunpowder-fueled siege weapons and classic units across 31 campaign missions, multiplayer, skirmish, and free build modes. Cool.
Nice.
That's your type of thing. Then, it's out on March 9th. And like you said, Apex Legends on Switch, March 9th as well. And then March 12th, we've got a game called Pascal's Wager Definitive Edition.
Okay.
All I know about Pascal is that it's a science constant. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or is that Planck Pascal? I don't know.
Perhaps.
And then also on March 12th, we've got Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. Basically, this is the next gen update day. So you can get the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S versions upgraded. It's also out on Switch that day, which is cool.
Oh, it wasn't on Switch before?
I don't think so. I think this is the first time it's coming to Switch.
Don't play it on Switch. You'll throw your Switch.
Jesus, yeah. Oh my God.
That game is so hard.
I'm curious to see it running on PS5 because that game was already beautiful. So it is like
pretty,
high resolution. Hell yeah. And also apparently it's using the DualSense in cool ways. So that's something I want to check out.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's releases for this week. March is
is it literally just that?
Yeah, March is another one of those like mixed bag things where it's a lot of like ports and next gen upgrades. There's nothing like super new coming out. You've got It Takes Two, the new game by Joseph Fares, which might be cool. And then later in the month also Monster Hunter Rise, which is a big release for Nintendo Switch.
Clear your schedule for April and beyond. You'll be playing that a lot, probably.
But other than that, got Disco Elysium, the final cut, coming out in March sometime, so that's cool.
Does that include just like
additional content? It's going to be the console launches as well.
Okay.
That's so yeah, cool. I bought it ages ago on PC, but now I might as well just wait for that.
You're just gonna replay Persona 4 instead, so
yeah, exactly.
Good.
Of course,
it's all good.
You know how it is. Yeah,
it's all good. Okay.
So yeah, that's it.
Shall we get to
news, gaming news?
Gaming news. What is happening in the world of gaming news?
Okay, I'll go first. Let
Let
me see one that I want to talk about quickly.
Let me just open all. What?
Well, I guess since we touched on it, let's go to Valve pulling the plug on Artifact 2.0. So you might remember that Artifact was their Dota-themed, Dota-inspired card game that was kind of meant to take on, I assume, Hearthstone. And the original version of Artifact was actually designed by Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering. But if you've been following the game at all, you'll know that soon after the game launched, he left the team. A lot of people left the team, designers. And it didn't take long. It was a few months after launch that Valve kind of announced that it was redeveloping Artifact into a sort of 2.0 version. I mean, stop me if you've heard this before. A game launches, it's not received well. They try and reboot that shit. I mean, we missed it last week, but
it was last week.
Anthem essentially went through that process, and EA killed that as well. They are not continuing development on Anthem anymore either. So, Valve was working on a 2.0 version of Artifact, and now in a similar vein, they've just pulled the plug on that. So it's been 10 months of work that they are kind of just throwing in the bin.
It's so sad.
They in the blog post they say, "Well, we're reasonably satisfied. We accomplished most of our game side goals. We haven't managed to get the active player numbers to a level that justifies further development at this time. As such, we've made the tough decision to stop development on the Artifact 2.0 beta."
That is,
So now Artifact 1.0 and 2.0 will be free for everyone.
So you can actually get 2.0 still?
Yes, Okay. Artifact Classic will be what the original game was, and then you have normal Artifact now. Artifact 2.0 is being called Artifact Foundry, and all the cards in the game can be unlocked and earned in-game, so you don't have to buy anything. The blog post says, players gain access to cards by playing the game. All cards are earned this way. No cards or packs will be for sale, and Artifact Foundry cards are not marketable. So straight up, game over for the monetization of this game.
How funny would it be, though, that now that the game's been pulled, it finds like this immense audience. Like,
you
can play this game. You can play this game without spending a cent. Like, cool. Like, let's do it. And then I don't know, it garners like 1 million players or something.
Jesus. I mean, it's not unheard of. It could definitely happen, and they go, maybe we'll dip back into this world. But it shows that like even a company like Valve, making a card game is not just making a card game.
You can't just throw money at a project like it's going to work. I mean, I think we've had some really good case studies over the last like 2 years alone. If you look at, so Valve now with Artifact, think about Amazon with Crucible. Was it Crucible?
Yeah, Crucible. God, remember
like
that.
That was the thing of, we're Amazon. We've got Jeff Bezos' money. We can just throw money at a game and it'll be fun. And oh shit, doesn't work like that. And Google with Stadia, like I think Stadia is
same thing.
Like still doing okay-ish, maybe. I don't know.
Well, they closed all their internal development studios.
Exactly. So it's like game, like we've said before, game development is actual sorcery.
Yep.
And even Valve, who, like we said, they made Portal 2, they make good games, even they can't get the card game right. So I don't know. It's just so interesting. Because, Artifact to me is a thing of like, Hearthstone's pulling big numbers.
Still,
it's today still it's
despite all the people bitching about Blizzard's monetization of the game.
Hearthstone still does really well, and then Gwent came about, and I think Gwent is maybe less
Gwent is more niche, but it's still I still see people talking about Gwent.
Exactly, but those two sort of came about, and it was like, holy shit, card games are the thing. And Valve probably thought, we'll make our own. And
well, I mean, Gwent came out after Artifact, if I'm not mistaken. And if you had to ask me beforehand which one would survive, I would have said Artifact. Yeah. So this is surprising. But again, I don't hear people talking about Artifact. The only time I heard it come up was when it had bad news. So that says a lot, I guess. Yeah. Now the Dota Artifact players can just go back to playing Dota, I guess.
Amazing. What do you want to talk about next?
Your turn. Go for it.
Shall we talk about? I mean, this is just quick news. I just thought this was interesting. Not played the game, but Genshin Impact has made over $874 million in 5 months, just on mobile.
Damn.
So just for those of you who don't know, Genshin Impact is very much it looks a lot like Breath of the Wild, like in terms of its art style and open world, whatever. But it's essentially what it's called, is it a gacha game?
Yeah.
Where it's basically free to play, but there is monetization that you can either buy packs or characters or consumables. Like I haven't played the game, but that's from my experience, that's the sort of thing you can buy. And remember, free to play, you can play it for completely free, but sometimes you just want that specific character or a specific
you want to roll the dice on.
You want to roll the dice. So let me stress, a gacha game is you can buy a pack. You're not guaranteed to get what you're looking for. It's a bit like gambling, maybe, dare I say.
100% like gambling.
A bit loot boxy. It has made $874 million only on mobile. Remember, this game is available on Switch and PlayStation. Is it on Xbox? I don't know.
I don't.
It's on
so.
PC too.
I know they said it's coming to Switch as well, but
is it not on Switch yet? Okay.
No, it ran like trash on PS4. I'll say that much. So good luck on Switch.
That is a shit ton of money, let me tell you.
That's a lot of money, but like you said, it's, Genshin Impact is you've got all these characters and each character has a certain star rating. So a lot of people pouring money into pulling that 5-star character that they love, you know what I mean? So
it's, yeah.
People are loving it, so I can't bemoan it. I played it for a bit and I like the style and I like the gameplay, but I can also see it's a big time investment and I just don't have the time for something like that. So,
and with games like that, like the reality is I've played many a free-to-play game where it always starts out nice enough, where they like give you so much shit. You're like, wow, this game's amazing. I can't believe they're giving me so much free stuff. And it doesn't cost me a single cent, but then you always hit, more often than not, you hit a wall. You're like...
It's that drug dealing strategy. They get you hooked.
Like you gives you just a little bit, then you get you hooked, but more often than not, you'll hit a wall and it's like,
now I need to pay money.
I could grind this out and it could take weeks, or I could just pay $5 and get it now, maybe. And
although to Genshin's credit, I've heard very good things about, it does get grindy, but at the same time, it's not egregious about it.
No, but I feel the same about another good example is I played a shit ton of Warframe, which again, completely free to play.
Another
game.
good example, yeah.
And like, the only money I ever spent in the game was like on color palettes. But I spent like maybe $10, $20 on it. But just remember, I put probably more than 100 hours into that game.
I really want to get back into that game.
Warframe was, I played it so long ago. It's changed so much since then. But like, that game is also, there was a bit of grinding, but the problem there is that the grind was actually a lot of fun. So it was like, I'm just going to do it anyway.
It's amazing because Warframe is, in a lot of ways, the model that Destiny adopted. So, like, you would love Destiny, I think. But listen, if you ever decide to get back into Warframe in stream, I'm there. I need someone to show me the ropes of that game because I don't know what the fuck's going on. I need
good friend Garth.
Yes, I remember he played a lot.
Good Wookiee to come and show me the ropes because I think he's... I don't know when last he played it, but I played a lot with him back in the day.
I'm down to play that, yeah. We should make a plan.
Okay.
Get a tenner on.
Yeah. Okay, what's your next news?
Oh, right, news bit. I kind of need to look at that.
Goodbye.
New Switch.
What?
New Switch Pro
the new Switch.
rumors.
Yes.
So,
bam.
There's that saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a lot of fucking smoke coming out.
Oh my God, there's some big fires. It's going on.
New report on the Nintendo Switch Pro coming from Bloomberg this time. Basically a lot of these same details that we've heard before, that it will be a new model. It will feature 4K output. And I say output because I don't suspect the console to actually even hit anywhere close to 4K, especially because the rumors are now suggesting that it's going to use the same Tegra chip, which means no power performance boost and definitely no DLSS. So, I think I think the 4K output is, like I've said in the past, just, you know, so if you hook it up to a 4K TV, things like your UI and menus are in 4K, which is nice. Or that the console does the upscaling instead of depending on the TV doing the upscaling, which is usually a lot better. So that's cool. The one part of this report that I think is super, super interesting is that it will apparently feature an OLED screen from Samsung, and that it will be bigger. So the Switch Pro has a 5 point, it doesn't say in this article, I think it's like 5.6 inch screen. And the new one apparently is 7-inch. So what that means is the dimensions of the console stay the same, but your bezels will just shrink. You'll have more of an edge-to-edge screen. And then obviously OLED, you have better contrast ratios. It just looks better. The initial version of the Vita actually had an OLED screen, and that changed to LCD in later models. And there's a huge difference between the two. But also OLED is more power efficient, so battery life should be better. And the fact that they're sticking to 720p on the handheld display, I think is the perfect choice. For people who want higher resolution on there, firstly, think about games already running docked that are struggling to hit 1080p with good frame rates. Now imagine that on a handheld form factor. And also, the screen is so small that resolution doesn't matter nearly as much as pixel density. And at 720p on that display, your pixel density is so high that it's on par with Apple's Retina displays. So like, it will not make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference.
Will not see. It's the same as laptop companies putting 4K panels in 13-inch monitors. It is ludicrous. Like, you do not need that.
So you mean to tell me when my iPhone says it's got a 4K screen, I just shouldn't care?
Yes, 100%. Pixel so density is far more important.
But it's 4K.
Why, like, no, it's why, like, you know, when you buy a monitor, you should be looking at pixel density. You know, resolution is important there, but if you're buying, say, a 27-inch monitor, 1080p on 27 inches is not ideal because it's stretching that resolution out across more pixels. So your density is much lower. Whereas 1440p there makes more sense. A 1440p monitor that is 24 inches makes 0 sense because a 1080p one there has really good pixel density. So, you know, it's those trade-offs. So I just saw a lot of people bemoaning 720p and just, no, you don't understand it. You just don't understand.
No.
But Bloomberg reports that this thing is still being planned for launch in 2021 and that production is slated to start in June. Obviously, COVID could definitely change all of that. But yeah.
It always blows my mind because I hear 2021, I'm like, damn, it's only next year. And I realize we're in March 2021.
Yeah, we're already a quarter of the way through 2021. Can you fucking believe
this
it?
Is coming out in 2022. Like, man, that's 2 years away. That's so far. Like, come on. Okay, I need you to explain to me this drama here. The Sinking City developer claims
shit.
The game is illegally uploaded to Steam by Nacon. So my understanding, very top level, is that this studio made a game. Yes. There was some dispute or something with the publisher, I think. And then the publisher somehow took the game and uploaded it without the developer's knowledge. Like, am I understanding that correctly?
So this is actually a long, winding debacle, which is nicely summarized here by Darren.
Oh boy!
So essentially, the game came out. It's a Cthulhu game. I really don't care much for the actual game, but the debacle around it is big. So essentially, the developer Frogwares, they accuse the publisher Nancon of withholding funds during the development of the game. Mm-hmm. And because of that, Frogwares then terminated their contract with the publisher and the game was delisted from Steam. That was a few months ago.
Yeah.
So then the publisher took Frogwares, the developer, to court, saying that the original content needed to be upheld. The game then returned to Steam on February 26th without the knowledge of Frogwares. Frogwares then realized what had happened and literally on the Steam page, told fans to avoid purchasing that version and instead acquire it from other digital distribution platforms because they were getting no money from that version. Especially because that version, it turns out, wasn't a version they had approved. It was a version that publisher Nancon had essentially pirated a game that they published. They pirated and put it back on Steam so that they could earn money from it. And now Frogwares issued a basically a copyright takedown of their own game on Steam. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, the game is not on Steam because of that copyright dispute.
I mean,
what a fucking mess.
Let me see. Sinking City, Steam. Let's have a look here.
Yeah, Frogwares claims that Nancon bought a copy of the game on Games Planet, illegally altered it, and then distributed it on Steam.
Oh, that's so funny. I see it in Google, but if I click on it, it just takes me to the Steam homepage.
Yeah, I think it was removed. I think that's the latest.
Yeah,
that's the latest updates on the story. What a fucking mess, though, and just
yeah.
Wow, Nancon, they really are making a name for themselves as a publisher to just never work with ever.
What other sort of games are there any other notable? Is Nancon the same company who does like the Nancon controller? Or was that just a coincidence?
I think it is. So Nancon Gaming, peripherals and video games.
Okay,
yeah.
so they do.
So let's see what video games they did. They did Werewolf the Apocalypse, that game that came out recently. Handball 2021. Okay. World Rally 9, WRC. So those are actually good games. They've done some Warhammer games like Warhammer Chaos Bane and Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor.
They've got some big hitters under their belt. Not like these massive
Simulator,
games,
Rugby 20, Tennis World Tour 2. Yeah, so, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Sinking City is not listed on their website. Shocker.
God forbid. So
but
if I wanted to buy
I know them more
City
from their accessories. Like you said, the controllers that they put out. They put out like a sort of like a pro controller for the PS4.
So I suppose if I wanted to buy the Sinking City, could I buy it on Epic, for example? Or another platform?
I don't know where else it's on sale.
That's
but
wild.
yeah, you could. They basically just say don't buy the Steam version because that's not one they approved. Wow. What a mess though. It's on Origin. I see here. Is it on Epic Games Store? I think it's on Epic Games Store. Yeah.
Okay, so it's available.
It's available. Yeah. Again,
wild.
It's not a game that's good enough to like require this much attention, but the attention itself.
It's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sales are gonna like skyrocket now. Because
probably
people be people. You know.
Yeah. Should we fly through the rest? Because we are running out of time.
Yeah. So next bit of news: Epic Games bought Fall Guys developer Mediatonic. Oh my god,
the great header.
It's baked beans. I feel like Jeff is personally responsible for
the baked beans epidemic.
The baked bean epidemic. I know Darren's like 100% his accomplice in this, but still. So that's pretty cool though. I mean, Fall Guys. I think I haven't played it personally for many months. I like really put dozens of hours into the game when it came out.
That soundtrack still lives rent free in my head though.
It's but I have such an admiration for the studio and the way they're like this game into the zeitgeist and it just stayed there because they've done such interesting stuff like on social media. Their community managers deserve like
so
all the money in the world.
Did you see they added to the Fall
don't
Guys
even
law
bring
this
up,
week
please.
that they eat through their feet.
They eat through their feet. Why? Why do we need to know that?
I love the anatomy of a Fall Guy. It's amazing and terrifying at the same time.
So they've been picked up by Epic, which kind of makes sense. It seems like the sort of studio that Epic would snap up.
Yeah.
And good for them. Like I really think Fall Guys has done well, and I think it's cool that they've now been snapped up by Epic.
It seems identical to Epic's plan with Psyonix, the developer
of
Rocket League. Yeah, just like take this immensely popular online game and now give them the money to, I don't know, continue supporting battle passes. Maybe it goes free to play. Who knows?
Yeah.
Interesting to see.
So they've been bought out by Epic. We had a PSVR showcase, which The only thing I know they showed, well, the one that I remember is Doom 3 VR edition.
Yeah, so a lot of these games were announced for Quest as well.
Okay.
So they're not exclusive to PSVR, but it is cool to see, Sony taking the time to showcase 6 PSVR games. At this time. So yeah, Doom 3 VR edition, cool.
Song in the Smoke.
That looks pretty cool. It looks almost like a thriller horror thing, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Fracked. What's that about?
A mountain fracking facility that has been taken over by an army of gun-wielding interdimensional maniacs known as the titular Fracked.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. So I guess it's a shooter?
Yeah.
I Expect You to Die too. The Spy and the Liar.
Cool. I Expect You to Die is really fun. So yeah.
Did you play the first one?
Yeah. It's really, really fun.
Oh my gosh, Zenith, which is also a first-person MMO RPG.
Interesting. Oh okay, that is bold for a. Wow. Yeah, an MMO on a platform where you don't want to keep the thing on for more than like an hour, and also where your customer base is very small. That is.
That's quite something.
That's interesting. I'm curious, but yeah, wow.
And then After the Fall, which is another FPS with 4-player co-op.
Brought to you by the team that did Arizona Sunshine, which was like a zombie shooter. So Arizona Sunshine was pretty cool. So yeah, okay,
cool.
And I think those are all coming out throughout 2021, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Sony wants to turn bananas into controllers.
Yeah, there was a patent that got discovered this week regarding Sony's plans for its next VR controllers for its PSVR 2, and beyond, the plans for its controllers to feature like DualSense functionality and be more dedicated VR controllers. They have this idea of being able to turn any inanimate peripheral object around you into a controller. So the picture in the patent was like taking a banana and being able to map controller functions to a banana, which is fascinating. This is how they fix their drift issue. If your DualShock 5 breaks, just use a banana.
Not even a week or two, we had I suppose it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had news of somebody speedrunning Hades with pomegranates.
It's true.
Listen, Sony are just straight up copying ideas. Okay, people have had banana controllers and fruit controllers for a long time.
I mean, to be fair, Sony created the original banana controller. Remember that old PS3 controller prototype?
Yeah, I saw that tweet going around. I was like, that's hilarious.
It's come full circle, man.
Come on.
It's full circle. This was their plan all along.
Oh my god. There's a new Alien game coming out called Aliens Fireteam, which is a co-op third-person shooter. It looks really fun.
It looks like Left 4 Dead, so I'm keen to give it a go.
In that universe, so
yeah,
cool.
It's a 4-player co-op third-person shooter. It's out American summer 2021, so our winter. And the footage looks good. It visually looks okay. And it could be a fun shooter, because the last time we got an Alien shooter, it was Colonial Marines, and that fucking sucked.
Boo.
That game really sucked. So,
then last bit of news, Marvel's Avengers is increasing the ground required to level up in the next
Man, I don't fucking get this. I just don't get it. Like, you've got a game where people are looking for more reasons to play. Like, you're releasing new content, but at the same time, there's not enough incentive to continue. I mean, incentive's the wrong word, because I just found the game straight up boring, and that's a more core issue than I think these little tweaks can change. But if you've got a struggling fan base, to me, the idea is to incentivize more people to come in and see new things, not make those new things more difficult to obtain by artificially increasing the grind. I just don't fucking get it. Like, I don't understand. And it seems like the people who actually play the game, based on what I've seen on the Reddit and whatever, also don't understand, like, why was this the choice made? So yeah, whatever. I don't know. After seeing EA gut Anthem, I'm wouldn't be shocked if in a year this goes the same route, because
I
just
don't know.
hear.
It's such an interesting scenario because, my God, that video is lagging so hard. Let me just scroll up there. I don't know. It's such an interesting thing because I think Marvel's like a big enough name that it does have a dedicated fan base. Like, there are people who enjoy the game, 100%.
I mean, the game was one of the best-selling ones of 2020 for sure. But how many people are still playing?
Yeah, so like, I don't think that a lot of people are still playing necessarily, but I do think that so look, there are DLC packs coming in. So I think we've got the Kate Bishop one.
It's already out.
And then there's the Hawkeye one coming out.
That's out as well, yeah.
No disrespect to the characters. Like, if you like them, cool. But I can't tell you that I get excited to dive back in to play Hawkeye or Kate Bishop. Like, honestly, that's just, I'm not at all. Even movies, just raw character, I'm like, they're not exciting to me. But I do wonder, like, what sort of player numbers will you pull in? I mean, we know that there is supposed to be Black Panther, but then with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, like, I think they pushed it back, which I thought that's very respectful of them, very cool. But I do think when that drops, you probably will get some people diving back in.
I mean, there's like meant to be Spider-Man coming as well.
Yeah,
for
so
PlayStation.
It's such a like a gray, not a gray area. It's like, it seems very unpredictable at the moment because I'm like, there are these packs coming, and I do believe that if you put Spider-Man in, you will draw characters, like, not characters, you will draw players back in. For how long, I don't know. But like, if you're laying the groundwork to keep players invested, I don't think increasing the grind required is the right move. Like, I played Avengers. I thought the story was quite cool. I enjoyed the story, but I had like zero desire to go back and carry on playing.
Yeah.
But now, if you tell me, cool, Spider-Man's here, Spider-Man's here, and if you want to swing through New York for whatever reason, you need to hit level 50. And I know that the grind to level 50 has been made harder. I just straight up won't play the game. Like,
but that's the thing. It's like, even without this grind increase, it's like, if a character came out, it would probably prompt me to boot up the game for an hour and then not play it again, because like the core gameplay of that thing is boring. Like, I just find the combat so stale, and like the enemies just so mundane. Like, me as a big Marvel fan, and I can't speak to the entire fan base of this game, obviously, because there are people who enjoy it, but it really just wasn't what I wanted from this sort of game, you know. And I think the problem starts with it trying to be a live service game, straight up. Like, it just should have never been that. So we'll see. I don't know. EA threw a lot of money at Anthem, and Anthem, when it started out, went through the same sort of thing where they had a roadmap of content. You know, that roadmap started getting delays every now and then it just became vague. Like, and then as soon as that happened, then it was, you know, a few months after, they were like, we're shutting down content updates and we're working on a reboot. And I don't think that's impossible here. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand this change.
Yeah.
But anyway, there are other good games to play. That's new games. That's news.
News is done.
If you want to send us questions, which is our next and final segment, you can email us.
I need a timestamp.
You can email us checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also tweet at us, checkpointchat on Twitter, on Facebook. You can find us at YouTube now, YouTube/checkpointchat. But most importantly, we actually have a TikTok. Matthew started it.
Listen, I don't know what possessed me, okay? But I was like, I'm just going to get a TikTok account for the day that we maybe do potentially share content there. So we do, in fact, have a TikTok.
You can share your favorite TikToks with us now.
I think I did get at Checkpoint Chat. I didn't. I actually didn't. I lie. I got Checkpoint Chat podcast because somebody or some people have got Checkpoint Chat 1 through to 8.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah, which is just, I'll tell you right now. Give me a second. We are Checkpoint
And
Chat
are they
podcast.
posting any fire TikToks?
No.
Yeah, you see. Fucking squatters.
I should have gotten it long ago. I even said like we should get it before someone else does it, and I just never acted.
It's fun. Someone has checkpointchat@gmail.com. Who knows? Don't know who that person is.
It's the same. It's
we Checkpoint Chat podcast. It's okay. It's the same good content. You know it's coming from that fro.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got a mouse cursor on my head.
Oh my God, sorry. Okay, we have
hit me with questions.
We have a question on Twitter from Michael John. He says, will Alessandro and Matthew run together again? Perhaps resume Pokemon hunting with the ladies as well. I mean, I think we probably will go running again at some stage. I need to figure out how far you are from me. But I think, like, if I wanted to do a long run, I could 100% run to you and I could run back. That'd be a respectable distance. Like
I think if I'm thumb sucking here, but it's probably about 10Ks. I would say.
You reckon it's about 10? Yeah.
Probably could be less, but I'd wager around about there.
Around 10. But I mean, there's no harm in like meeting up at a middle ground and going, hey, let's go for a run. Or I think at some stage we probably will do that.
I will miss where my parents' house is. Very nice running routes. Your brother will know now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. What's quite exciting for you is that you also get to explore new running routes now. Like I don't know what the area around you is like, but moving to where I live now, I loved running around in Kensington where my mom lived, and like I had so many routes there. But living where I am now, I've discovered a lot of awesome routes, and I've got really nice surrounding areas, and like I really enjoy running.
Yeah, that discovery is pretty great. Yeah, I haven't run it all this week just because I think the stress of moving and a new job kept me from any sort of physical activity this week. Got to treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
But yeah, I do want to get back to running, and when things start getting back to normal, hit up those park runs again. I really miss those. So
yeah, I wonder. I mean, the closest one to me is Delta Park.
Well, Delta Park is like a 15-minute drive from me now, so
yeah,
it's still shorter than I was driving to Modderfontein and Galuli's every week. So yeah,
how does it feel to be centrally located now?
It still hasn't sunk in, but I will tell you one thing: I listen to podcasts a lot less because I'm driving a lot less.
Yeah, I had the same issue. The one thing you will notice when travel's a thing again, I mean, you were pretty close to the airport. Like you still had to do a bit of driving on the highway, but it's all on the highway. And it was the same for me when I lived in Kensington. Getting to the airport was like 15 minutes, like 12 minutes if there's no traffic and you drove slightly.
Now it's a half an hour endeavor.
Now, for me to get to the airport, it's a thing of like, can you collect me from the airport? I'm like,
no.
That is like a 35 to 40-minute drive now. It's not close.
So it's like nearly a 2-hour round trip from your day.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm just going to factor that in.
Yeah.
Okay. We have 2 questions from Megs who says, Alessandro, sell WandaVision to me. Is it worth watching even though I don't really care about both characters in the Avengers series? If you care, I've watched WandaVision too, so I can weigh in here.
If you care at all about the next Marvel films, you have to watch WandaVision. Like that is just the case now. They are so intrinsically tied into the Marvel universe now that you can't miss them. I don't think.
Yeah, like remember, what is the last one called? Endgame. That like wrapped up that whole arc, and this is the start of what's next.
Yeah, this is very
Marvel.
Much kicking off the new phase. Yeah, it's I think you could read the cliff notes of it, but they set a lot of things in motion in this series that I think will only be resolved in a couple of films. I don't see them all being wrapped up in Doctor Strange, where Wanda is meant to be a big character there as well. So it's a good show as well. Like even without that, needing to be up to date with the MCU, I found it very, very fun. I thought it was a cool show.
I was pleasantly surprised by it, honestly. Yeah. Like, it's a weird thing to get used to because, like, if you've watched any trailers, it does come across as like
it's strange,
or it's super Doctor Strange. That's not a spoiler. But I really enjoy the show. Like, I also can't say I give two shits really for Scarlet Witch or Vision. But I can tell you I have a lot more respect for both characters and even just the people performing in the show, because I think in terms of production value, the writing I thought was really good.
Yeah.
And just the performances were I've always loved what's his name? Paul
Bettany.
Like I've always liked him. I think he's a great actor, but I don't know him as Vision. Like I think he's like made for that role. I think he does it so well. Like I really enjoy him.
Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and Elizabeth Olsen as well.
Yeah.
Like,
the way they transition between like styles of TV show with each episode is like incredible. Like really, really, they brought their all to this. And then Catherine Hahn, who's Agnes, she's incredible as well. I mean, she's been in so many movies prior to this, but always as like a secondary character. And I feel like here she just has a lot more screen time, and she's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Like,
look, so, I will say that there are moments where I'm like, there's always some part of a series or movie I'm like, this is such a like silly Marvel thing. It's like it's too much of.
Like, have you watched the finale?
I've seen the finale. I watched it last night.
I felt like the finale was my least favorite episode.
It was my least favorite episode. Like the build up was like impeccable. Episode 7, or was it 8? The last one,
the flashback one.
Yeah, that was like
unbelievable.
I really, really loved it.
Yeah.
That is like
it filled in so many amazing blanks. Like
I got
movies,
so much more in wonder than like anything else. I was like, holy shit, this character's got some real depth. Like I understand this character a lot more now, and even just like that was brilliant. Like I love that episode. But then the finale. And I feel this with a lot of Marvel films where like I'm a very easy person to please. I'm like, you give me action, I'm like, that's cool, I enjoy it. But with a lot of Marvel films, I'm like, it's like silly action, and like I acknowledge it, and I still enjoy it, but like it's not.
No, I mean the finale. It's weird that we both have the same feeling, because the finale is the most MCU like episode of the entire show. It is the most comfort food, recognizable thing that. If you were watching a Marvel film, that's what you'd expect. And it was the least interesting of the entire series. Like, the rest of the series was this weird experiment that, I think at the beginning, they definitely should have released the first 3 episodes at once instead of the first 2. Because the intrigue only really starts from episode 3. Like,
I have a colleague who's like, I just straight up ignored the first 3 episodes. And I was you kind of could do that.
You could definitely skip out on the first 2 and not really miss much.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still think they set the stage for a lot of the first 3 are like, this is all creepy and weird, and something's definitely not right
up
here.
Yeah.
And I feel like they unravel it in a satisfying way, but the finale is still good, and especially how they definitely set things up for the future of Marvel. Like there's a lot of threads that they leave dangling purposefully. But I just felt the episode itself was like fairly weak.
No, but I'm there with you. It was a 100% MCU like spectacle. Cool, if that's what you want, that's what you're gonna get. Not my favorite episode, but it does leave some little dangling thread. You go, they're going to definitely explore that in a movie. Or, well, we don't even have to wait long, because we've got Falcon and
Winter Soldier
coming out. Yeah. It's like in 2 weeks. It's right around the corner. And
I think they've got series for the rest of the year. Like as soon as Falcon and Winter Soldier ends, you've got the Loki series that starts. And
oh, really? My goodness. Okay.
And all of it ties back into the film. So it's like it's really frustrating that Disney Plus isn't available here, because if you watch the first MCU film, probably Doctor Strange or Spider-Man at the end of the year, which will definitely reference some of these events, you're going to be super lost. Especially when Wanda and Vision show up again. Like, if you haven't watched what happened, you won't know what the fuck's going on, because so much has changed. So yeah.
But long and the short of it is, I think it is worth watching. Like, even Marvel aside, like I can tell you, Lenska enjoys the Marvel films, but she's not at all as into them as I am. I could 100% recommend it to her, because I'm like, it's just really entertaining, and production value, acting, like really good,
and just good character writing. I think they really explored Wanda in a way that the films haven't, because she's been, again, like a side.
She's been like a
character.
Honestly, been a side character. Even Vision, it's like he's just been there. But I feel like they give them both.
The films have always been the Iron Man, Captain America shows. And these kind of characters are more on the periphery. So it's good. In a way, it's great that we're getting these series because it allows you to see these characters in a much more deep light. So WandaVision, I think, I still can't believe that series got greenlit, because I can only imagine the pitch for that show. But I'm super glad Marvel went along with it, because it's great. It's a great time.
Okay. If both of you were to drink your favorite high alcoholic beverage, who would pass out first?
Definitely me.
Dev, I'm just going to come out and say you, because I believe that I'm pretty strong when it comes to alcohol. It's
haven't you said you've never had a hangover?
I've never had a hangover, even after my bachelor's. No hangover.
Yeah, and I was at your bachelor's and I thought you were going to die. So
nearly died.
If I drank what you drank on your bachelor's, I would have died. So
can I just tell you, I want to blow my own horn and say that I'm a very polite drunk. Okay?
You are.
I came home, showered, and put myself to bed. When Lenska got home from what she was doing, I was just sleeping.
Although you and Kat did disappear for about an hour and we had no idea where you guys were.
I mean,
that was a bit terrifying.
I had to go reacquaint myself with the bathroom, but still. I've got stories from my bachelor's, my goodness.
But I've got no illusion that you would outdrink me 9 out of 10 times.
On that, if you're wondering where I was, I disappeared to a bathroom and it was like, the men's bathroom was occupied. I still very politely asked the lady cleaning the ladies' room. I was like, listen, the bathroom's occupied. Would you mind if I went into that bathroom? I didn't just go and do it. I still politely... She was like, okay.
Wow.
Okay, we have a question from Bester Bash on Instagram who says, what is your favorite F1 reveal and why is it Williams? Because, I suppose they've been revealing a whole lot of the
new cars for the cars. Season. Yeah.
Can I tell you, those photo shoots, some of those photos have been like, wow.
Some of them have been weird.
Who's been weird? I've only seen the pretty ones. Maybe I haven't seen the bad ones.
I deleted heading for one of your... Never mind. I got it back. I don't know. Like the cars this season are a bit boring because next year is the big rule change in Formula One. This is your Formula One 60 seconds quickly.
My goodness.
Next is the big change. So there's a lot of chassis changes. A lot of the rule changes will force design changes. So this year, the teams weren't going to spend tons of money on redesigning a car that would only be useful for a single year. Yeah. So a lot of the cars visually and aerodynamically are very similar to last year's. And then on top of it, a lot of the teams just stuck with an almost identical color scheme. So they were revealing these cars and you'd be like Red Bull's car looks, I can't even tell the difference, to be fairly honest. So Williams is the most drastic change, I think. Which is why I'm with Best of Ash here, that it's probably the most interesting one. I think the reveal of the Aston Martin team was also nice, although I don't like the color of their car. And funnily enough, Mercedes kept their black livery from last year, but they added some nice flair to it, which I think looks really good. So good on them.
I just saw some photos, some of the photos come out, and I don't know what the cars look like last year, but I was like, those are some real hot looking cars.
No, they are like the new team Alpine, who was Renault last year. So Renault was a yellow and black color scheme, and Alpine this year is like almost like the French flag on a livery, which looks really nice. The most confusing one is Haas, which is an American CNC company who run a team, but because they get a lot of sponsorship money from their new Russian driver and his family, their car looks like a Russian flag, which must be pretty embarrassing for an American team. So I don't know.
My goodness.
Interesting Formula One politics.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm super stoked. The season is starting end of March, and the third season of Drive to Survive is out a week before the season starts. So happy days.
My goodness. The third season of Drive to Survive. Second season.
Third season.
Oh my goodness. Are there 3 seasons?
Yeah, they basically do a season after
season
each
per
actual racing season. Yeah.
I need to catch up. Damn. Okay, and we have 2 final questions from Malesh on email, who says,
Ooh.
after hearing about you guys constantly singing Persona 5's praises, I finally started. I just want to come out and say that I have not sang a single praise here.
Not yet.
I'm not the same as Alessandro. This man will not shut up about Persona. So I can understand you thinking that we've both been doing. He says 2 hours of cutscenes and minimal gameplay in now. When does the game actually start? You know what's funny is that I've not played Persona, but I can give one example of a game that's very similar, and that's, well, one franchise that's similar, and that's Metal Gear Solid.
Yes.
A lot of those games are like, I think it is Metal Gear Solid 3 specifically, where it's like,
that game takes forever to start. Holy shit.
A lot of dialogue and cutscenes and back and forth, and I'm like, oh my god, it's just me. I played on the Vita. I was just literally like, I'm just gonna rest that there and watch.
Even Metal Gear Solid 4 is like, you walk 2 steps, cutscene. Walk another 2 steps, another cutscene. It takes forever.
Like, Kojima, let me play this damn game. So tell us, when is Persona actually start?
I don't even know. You know what the funny thing is? Persona 5 gets you in the action a lot quicker than Persona 4, which is saying a lot. I remember booting up Persona 4 on Vita, not knowing, like, having no context for what the Persona series was like. Yeah. And I think it was like 3 or 4 hours later, I actually got control of my character. Before then, it was just cutscenes and just dialogue. And like 3 hours in, I was like, what the fuck is this game? Is this just a visual novel?
This is
like,
a
what
fun
is going
visual
on?
novel, yeah.
But I mean, Persona 5 actually starts with you briefly in a dungeon, so you get to see some of the combat like as the game starts. But then it's a lot of setup because it has to introduce you to characters. It has to introduce you to your first dungeon and then give you context for what that dungeon actually is. And then, there's a lot going on in Persona that I feel like it has to go slowly, because if it bombards you with everything at once, you'll be so overwhelmed.
You'll jump off.
I mean, there's even cases where 30, 40 hours in, it's still introducing new mechanics. So it's not you. I don't think you'll ever get to a point early on where you feel like, okay, I understand the game now. It just keeps layering on things on top of one another at a gradual and understandable pace. But I think, you really get into the quote unquote routine of the game about, I'd say 10 hours. I say 10 hours, but that doesn't mean the game takes 10 hours to get interesting. I say 10 hours in, you finish the first dungeon, and then it goes, now you understand the format of this. The next one is on you. You kind of need to, you need to take the ropes and kind of do it yourself. Because again, Persona 5 is a time-sensitive game. Every day matters. You've got to do, you only have a certain number of slots per day to do certain things. And if you fuck that up, you have the potential to really like mess up your playthrough. So they can't rush you into that. So it's only after the first dungeon that they've shown you the broad strokes of that, and they go, okay, next time it's up to you to plan your time more efficiently. So give it time. I know the first few hours are like, what are you playing? Like,
what is this?
And a lot of people bounce off of it, and that's fine. Like, I know Darren bounced off of it because of that. Like, it's not a game for everyone, but I promise you, stick with it, and there will be something there. Like, especially if you're a fan of RPGs. I mean, there's a reason people fucking love that game. So yeah.
Well, there you have it. Persona 5. I'll play it one day. And we have one final question from Malesh, who says, hey guys, happy 3rd birthday and congrats on this awesome milestone. Oh yeah, on that, we are 3 years old.
Can you believe it?
And we have 500,000 listens. We actually should have spoke about this at the top of the show.
You guys
I completely forgot.
It's all of you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. That is like, it's actually wild to think that 3 years have passed. I'm like,
it is wild, right?
Holy hell. It's been so interesting. And the fact that we've completely transitioned to recording remotely, which was like last year's, to me, milestone, because I think we'd spoken about it, but we just never got to it. And then COVID was like, okay, well, we kind of have to do it. Yeah. And now we've gone full video, which has been exciting. And it really delayed some plans last year, but we got around to them. I'm just super grateful for everyone who listens every week and who supports us, whether you're a listener or a distributor that helps us, with the content that we create. We appreciate everyone, because we wouldn't
we wouldn't be able to do it without that support. So
No.
thank you so much.
So yeah, so he says, hey guys, sorry for that sidetrack. I still remember the days this podcast started. You were my rebound guys, my then favorite gaming podcast, Rooster Teeth. The patch glitch, please, had fallen apart, and I'd been looking for something else like that for my drive to work. It's been a pleasure to join you guys on this journey.
What a champ. Thank you so much.
I had this question for last week. I ended up deciding anyway, but I'll ask anyway because I'm keen to know what your answer would have been. JRPGs have have never really caught on with me. Too long, too grindy, too anime-y.
Oh, goodness.
Noticed a few getting loads of recognition and praise lately. I know Persona 5 is probably the most highly acclaimed one. Which is the most accessible for someone trying to get into the genre? Dragon Quest 11S, Persona 5, one of the Final Fantasies, Xenoblade, or Fire Emblem?
Sure, I think Persona's a hard one to start with.
I think, yeah, so, yeah, you take it away. I've got my answer.
Yeah, I know people say Persona 5 is like one of the best JRPGs ever made, but I also feel like it's so different to JRPGs that I like struggle reconciling that it is one because it is its own thing. It is like a relationship and friendship simulator layered with turn-based RPG combat. You know what I mean? So, if you compare Persona to what people would consider traditional JRPGs, like your Dragon Quests and your Final Fantasies, it's completely different.
Yeah.
So I think if you do bounce off Persona 5, I don't think use that as a template for like, I don't like JRPGs, because in general, I don't like JRPGs. I love Persona. So, there's that. I mean, Final Fantasy, I like Final Fantasy because that's more of a palatable JRPG, but heavy ones like your Dragon Quests and your, like Octopath Traveler came out. They do get too grindy for me, and I'm just not a huge fan of them. So yeah, I think Persona can be both the perfect or the perfectly wrong choice to be your first one. But I think Final Fantasy is a good, Final Fantasy 15 is incredible. I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed Final Fantasy 15, and I think it's probably one of the easier
definitely to get into
Final Fantasies to get into. But let me smack you with Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Okay, so I don't know if Malesh has a PlayStation. I feel, can you play Persona 5 on PC? He does have a PlayStation.
No, it doesn't. It's only on PlayStation.
Was it Persona 4 on PC?
Yes, Persona 4 Golden came to PC recently.
So Malesh has a PlayStation, right? And let's just assume he's got a PS Plus subscription, which means he's got access to Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Only on PS5, I think.
Is it only on PS5?
No, wait, it can't be because it's a PS4 version.
I feel like
I'm wrong.
Look, Malesh, tell us if you can access Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Let me tell you, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, I'll come out saying I'm a fanboy. That is the game that got me into JRPGs. It was my first JRPG, and I fell down that rabbit hole.
Well, Final Fantasy 7, you mean?
Sorry, the original Final Fantasy 7, yeah.
I think it was my first one as well. I think it's, it's that PS1 classic.
It's the classic, but I've not, when I say it led me down the rabbit hole, I haven't really played, Dragon Quest or Persona. I haven't played like I suppose, typical JRPGs. Like Alessandro said, Final Fantasy is almost like, it's 100% a JRPG, but it's like way more palatable. There's stuff about it that's, I suppose, more forgiving to newcomers. Like the original Final Fantasy VII, I felt that system was very clever, but very easy to understand. Like the materia system is a thing of, you have an orb that's got a spell, you equip it, you can cast that spell. Like it's very straightforward.
Yeah.
Well, at
100%.
least like it felt straightforward to me. And Remake, honestly, like I think if you've never played the original, you might miss some nuance. You won't have the same hits of nostalgia I do. And I'm like, oh my God, like I remember this scene as a kid, and now they've made it like a full CGI section, or they've reimagined this whole area. But I think 7 Remake is accessible to everyone because it's very easy to get into. It's similar combat in the sense of like you get materia, which are these orbs that have spells. You equip them, you can use them. Like it's very straightforward. It's none of this obscure like, I don't know how this works, whatever. on top of that, though, it's a combination of action or turn-based. Like you can choose if you want to play just turn-based, for example. There's an easy or classic mode, I think it's called, where you can literally just sit back.
Mode, yeah.
You can sit back and just cast spells if you want. However, you can do, normal mode, which is both. And honestly, it's so good. Like the biggest concern for every Final Fantasy VII fan is like, I can't believe they're taking this, the more action route. It's never going to work. But they pulled it off. Like it works so well between you actually controlling the characters and then pausing to, cast a spell, whatever.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I don't think there's a grind at all. You can play that game from A to B, and at no point do you have to go, oh, shit, I can't beat this boss. I'm not high level enough. I need to go grind, which is like...
There's no grind, but there's certainly filler.
There's filler, yeah, but I think a staple of JRPGs is like, oh shit, like I'm not strong enough. I need to go and spend an hour or two getting stronger.
Grinding out, yeah.
There's literally none of that in Final Fantasy. Like the only barrier is you figuring out how to beat a boss. And I think it's not straightforward, but like it's not a thing of, oh my God, this is impossible. Like...
And I feel like Final Fantasy 15 was similar to that. I didn't ever feel like I was grinding. I felt like I was exploring because I wanted to. You know? What
I mean, and the leveling in that game is like you go.
That game actually felt too easy at times. I felt so.
Yeah. I think the only time it was challenging is if you went and did side stuff, like some of the optional.
But that's where Remake, in my brief playtime with it, I feel balances it out because it's challenging combat. It's more refined. But at the same time, it's, again, like you said, it's an action game almost first and foremost. So it's a lot more palatable in that regard.
Look, what I will say is that it will take some time to get used to the combat because it can be a bit overwhelming of like, oh my God, I have to bounce between 3 characters at one point and then, choose spells, whatever. But when it clicks, it is like, it's so good. And I think the game itself, like you don't need to have any prior knowledge of Final Fantasy VII. It's intriguing and it's so entertaining and it's got those blockbuster qualities that'll keep you going. Sure. Oh my God, like what's going to happen next? It's
stunning.
It's really pretty. So
I can't wait for that next gen upgrade because
oh my God, I'm like, will I replay this game? Not even like 2 years later.
It's got such a dumb name though. Intergrade. Like, come on.
I mean, it's not an upgrade, it's an integrate. It's the in-between. And that is all the questions. That's it.
Thank you so much to everyone who sent in a question. If you want to send in a question just like them, you can email us, checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also catch us on all the podcasts or all the social media platforms, Checkpoint Chat on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube now, and even on Checkpoint Chat Podcast on TikTok because
we don't have any content yet, but it's there if you want to follow.
You can, instead of going there, you can follow Matthew on TikTok and watch his professional Celeste plays.
My God, I'm out of Celeste clips now. It's so sad.
Now you have to find a new niche. Professional CSGO plays.
I mean,
first you have to become professional CSGO because you suck.
I mean, wow. I feel attacked.
I watched you that one time. You missed that easy as hell headshot. Couldn't believe it.
This is the story of my life where I either pull off the most insane shots or I just miss everything.
Like literally, we're there. It's 1v1. Everyone's like, "Oh, Matty, he doesn't know where you are," and you still died.
I know that happens a lot, but there are times when it's like me versus more than one person. Like, I'm never gonna win this, and I win.
You clutch
like,
play that shit. Yeah, I've seen some clutch plays from you.
It's great. I love it.
It's fun. You're a 50-50. You're still better than me at CSGO because I'm absolute 100%. Trash. So.
Joe, that's episode. What is this? 135.
Yeah, that's episode 135. Thank you so much for listening. As always, you can catch us on all the podcast platforms, on YouTube as well. If you're on YouTube and you haven't yet, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications of new videos going up. It helps us a bunch. And we will see you next week on Checkpoint Chat.
No moves are happening next week.
No.
So we'll be there.
No.
And that's it.
Thank you so much. See you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.